Being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Now, this is something that I do tell my clients from time to time and try and encourage them to become familiar with that. And I want to kind of, explain what I mean by that. So I believe within the context of personal growth, discomfort is a great thing because that discomfort is the very thing that places you outside of your comfort zone. It's the very thing that's going to push you towards adapting to that discomfort or stress you're experiencing. And I know that if you're comfortable, the chances of you growing or learning, I guess, in terms of more of from the perspective of emotional resilience and um, learning how to manage difficult emotions, is not as likely because you're comfortable. You're already comfortable. You're feeling okay. There's no emotional discomfort there. So therefore, there's no need to venture outside of that. But then, if you find yourself in a situation where all of a sudden your emotions are getting triggered, you're feeling anxious, and you start feeling uncomfortable, then it's going to be a lot more difficult to make the decisions that are going to serve you in those moments because all you're feeling is that discomfort. And that's why I want to really send this message of be comfortable with the uncomfortable. So let me give you an example. And I've seen this many times and I've gone through this myself. Let's say you're working in a job you hate. You work in an office, let's say, and you hate the job. Or you might even like the job, but you hate the people you work with. So let's say you have a manager, a boss who's really just micromanaging you, looking over your shoulder at everything, not giving you any acknowledgement of the work you're doing. And even when you do the work, it's not good enough. And they're never happy. It's really stressful to be in their presence. It's really stressful to work with them. And as a result, you feel stressed and you hate your job. Okay. I've seen this many times where people in that situation will be pushed towards looking for another job because they come home and say like, you know what, I can't continue this. I can't handle this anymore. I'm getting another job. I'm going to get a job that has more money, or I'm going to get a job that has the same money but just different people. They're kicked into action because of how they're feeling. They're not feeling comfortable. They're feeling stressed, and as a result, they're taking action. But let's say you're in a job that you enjoy being in. Is either the people you work with are good or the actual job is good, you're less likely to want to look for a new job because you feel comfortable. So because you feel comfortable, you're going to stay within the realm you've created for yourself. Even though there might be another job that is going to pay you more or is better suited for you, you're less likely to look because there's nothing pushing you emotionally. So if you're in a job that's causing you great stress, you know something's got to change and you're more likely to be pushed towards looking for a new job. Now, I'm not saying that this means you've got to kind of discard anything that makes you comfortable. Um, it's just understanding the role that comfort has in your life because it can be a dangerous thing. And by dangerous, I'm talking about it in the context of personal growth. Someone who goes out there, faces their fear, does something spontaneous, is much more likely to learn something from that experience, even if they fail, and become wiser or stronger or more resilient next time compared to the person who doesn't take that chance because of their comfort. So, comfort's a great thing, it's a luxury. But when it comes to growing emotionally, managing your ability to understand how the emotion feels in your body, not allow the discomfort of the emotion to push you towards taking an action that's going to hurt you in the longer run. If you stay in your comfort zone and you don't explore that for yourself and you don't push your boundaries, you will really struggle when it comes to a situation where you're emotionally challenged, you are feeling stressed, overwhelmed. Whereas if you learn to take that discomfort and being uncomfortable as a signal that you've got to stick with it, to familiarize yourself with that feeling, to build your tolerance for feeling that, you are more likely to lean into it and therefore find solutions that will help you that you wouldn't have otherwise had you stayed in your comfort zone and done nothing. Now, I know from my job as a counselor, speaking with many clients over the years, that it's not always an easy process for clients to bring very challenging life circumstances to the session, talk about it, relive it. You can see the emotions playing up in the session as it's happening. It's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. And you can see the painful emotions being triggered in that process. And I've noticed it leads to some clients and some people that I speak to out of sessions, they want to run away from that discomfort. They want to run away from it. And it's like running away from it is something that's ingrained from within us. So when we experience something that's emotionally uncomfortable, our natural instinct, our tendency is just to escape. So, alcoholism is is a strong example of an escape behavior, a painful behavior. Having said that, it's an addiction. It triggers a reaction from the body that goes way beyond your willpower. But how does it start? How does it start? Why do people resort to drinking in the first place? Some people have a predisposition to being addicted to things very quickly and very easily, but where does that start? In a lot of cases, alcoholism starts from someone escaping the pain, a painful aspect of their life. And so this is something important to think about, that we want to escape from pain because we don't want to experience pain. And what I'm saying is, especially in the context of emotional resilience and personal growth, lean into the discomfort, stay with it, because while you might want to run away from it and escape, what you're essentially doing is telling yourself you can't handle this. You can't handle this uncomfortable feeling you have. Whereas I'm saying, if you stay with it, you'll learn, actually, I'm still here. I can handle it. It's not nice, it's not pleasant, but I can handle it. Even for 5 minutes, just having this feeling, sitting with it. And you'll be amazed at what happens after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The feeling starts to communicate another message. You sit with it and then you start to go down a different path. Rather than running away, drinking or playing games or watching a film, whatever, you stay with it and you're like, okay, is this situation trying to tell me something? Is my discomfort telling me something here? Something I need to look at? That there's an answer for me to feel better in this situation if I just did action A or action B. So by being comfortable with the uncomfortable, you are allowing yourself the chance to deal with the most challenging emotional situations of your life without running away from it. You're more likely to address what's happening. You're more likely to face what's happening. That's going to build inner strength and resilience. And then what's going to happen is you'll find the solution in the longer term. The solution that will help to manage how those feelings sit within you. I want to offer you an analogy. So let's say that you're on a boat and you're steering the boat in the water. All right. Usually it's nice to have a destination to go to, just to drive aimlessly in the water is like wandering aimlessly through life. You don't know what you want to do. You don't know what you like. You're just kind of wandering through. So let's say you know what you want. You're headed towards that destination, but all of a sudden these monsters are on board and they're threatening you and they're saying, you go this way, turn left, turn right, and you're listening to them. Those monsters represent your fear, your anxiety, your anger, the very potent negative emotions that sit within you. And because you feel the fear and anxiety, you listen to it because it's uncomfortable. You're like, well, I better listen to these monsters so that they're going to stop yelling at me and stop making me feel this way. So you listen to them. But the result is you end up not heading towards the destination you want to head to, which is what you've determined for yourself. You end up wandering aimlessly, listening to one emotion saying go left and one emotion saying go right, and you're aimless. And in the longer term, you don't end up going anywhere. You're stuck. You end up being stuck. You don't reach your goal. The only way to reach your goal is to continue towards the goal, regardless of what those emotions say, regardless of how those emotions make you feel. Because at the end of the day, the emotion can't physically harm you. You can't do that. It just feels very uncomfortable. Now imagine if you hadn't exposed yourself to those feelings of discomfort for prolonged periods of time, and the way you've dealt with it is to escape. Well, you would never end up at the place you want to be, your destination, because those emotions have run the show. They'll be like, we've won, we've accomplished our mission, and they're not evil. They're there to protect you in some way, but it's understanding, why is it there to protect me from this thing I'm setting for myself? Whereas if someone exposes themselves to that discomfort for a prolonged period of time and they're familiar with it, even if they're not comfortable with it, they're more familiar with it, they're more likely to be able to stay with it longer and head closer towards their goal. So it's worth bearing that in mind. And I've been there. This is something I've really struggled with, especially fear. And I still struggle with it to a degree with certain situations. And I catch myself, and it's difficult, but I catch myself. I catch those feelings red-handed. And how I overcame it, because there's many ways. So when it comes to building positive mental health for yourself, there's many routes you can take. The emotions I was experiencing had such a profound impact on me that I decided to look at not only why it was having such a profound impact, but why it's even there in the first place. Like, why am I experiencing fear? Like, why? Why is fear so profound over my happiness or joy? And I learned to take that negative emotion, which I felt deeply, as a signal that something needed to change, as a signal that this thing you're experiencing needs to be managed by the conscious you. So I'm trying to default towards me consciously acting, being aware, self-aware, and acting in a way I know is going to help me, rather than giving into that emotion and defaulting to an automatic response, which I know from experience will not help me. This takes practice. It's a skill development. And I've spoken about this in previous videos. It is a skill development. I'll summarize by saying, the more discomfort you experience, the more familiar it becomes, and the more likely it is that you can assert yourself in those painful moments and take action in that environment, an action that you know is going to serve you despite how painful it might feel at the time. And I want you to take that message away, that the next time you find yourself in a situation where you're experiencing quite toxic negative emotions, it feels really painful, and all you want to do is run away from that situation, just ask yourself, is there a different way for me to react? And if there is, but you're not ready to take that step, fair enough. But then scale it back. What step am I ready to take? Can I sit with that discomfort for 20 seconds? Can I sit with it for 30 seconds? Just have the discomfort, but instead of running away or doing something, just sit with it and build your tolerance over time. And then you're going to get in a position where next time you feel discomfort, you're going to be much better prepared. So remember, it's worth sometimes being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Thanks for watching.